Let's go, Bulls Nation. Off of a 2-game losing streak to Philadelphia, we turned our heads and we pushed forward to the Brooklyn Nets, who won 5 off of the bounce, and they had a back-to-back, and the Bulls came in, provided their energy, and did what was supposed to be done, and we defeated the Brooklyn Nets, snapping that short game losing streak with 2 games and picking up a very big victory at home. Without further ado, let's talk about the Chicago Bulls and the Brooklyn Nets in this video. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Today we've got a Chicago Bulls related video referring to the game reaction against the Brooklyn Nets. This game was fantastic to see on so many levels. We saw a really good fourth quarter from some players, a terrific energy game, and our bench stepped up as well. And we're going to be talking all about the positives and the negatives of this game in this video, but the win is the most important part. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the player of the game, which will be very tough to decipher, and just your overall thoughts on the game in general, and how important is this win to you, because I understand the Brooklyn Nets situation. They've won 5 in a row. They're coming off of a back-to-back where they had to travel as well. They're probably not the most energetic about playing a game like this. They probably weren't feeling it as much as they should. But we cannot take away this win from the Chicago Bulls. This is a huge victory in the grand scheme of things. Anytime you face the Brooklyn Nets and you get a win over them, no matter the situation, no matter if they're playing great, which some of the players did play great, no matter if they were coming in stagnant, whatever the case may be, getting a win against the Brooklyn Nets is a huge plus for the Chicago Bulls, and it's a very important win to have over the course of the season, and that's great to see. We won this game 118-95. In the end, that fourth quarter from the Chicago Bulls, especially the beginning of the fourth quarter, was absolutely phenomenal, and that's where the bench comes in. I want to give a huge shout out to how this bench played in the second half. It was absolutely amazing to see that energy, that defensive presence, and just to get up in their grill. Now, there were a lot of fouls in that game as well, don't get me wrong, and the fouls went both ways. There were a lot of cheap fouls. This is not necessarily a game I would like to see every now and then, when it's all fouls getting to the free throw line. But that did help the Chicago Bulls today, and we ended up taking advantage of that situation, and we got to the line very early in the fourth, and we just took over the game in general. We absolutely thrived in the fourth quarter. Now, that's not to say that there weren't negatives to this game as well. Every single game now, I have to keep track of the assist numbers, because that will most likely determine whether or not we played a lot of isolation or not. So this game we had 21 assists in total, and I believe last game against Philadelphia we had 20. So there's still improvements to be made there in terms of the ball movement. However, you can't deny, even with the lack of assist numbers that was there, in specific moments of this game, we were far from isolation. We had the ball and we moved the ball very, very well. But there is isolation still here. There is a lot of isolation still here, and I guess that's the main thing to focus on. And again, I'll keep saying that isolation isn't bad if it's used in small doses. We still use it, I think, in my opinion, a little bit too much compared to what we should be doing. But nevertheless, I can't complain about a win like this. I can't complain about a strong performance like this. I do want to say as well, it wasn't all sunshines and rainbows today. The second quarter for the Chicago Bulls is the one I want to talk about, because that is when we dropped the ball big time, because I feel like that would have easily been, it would have been a much easier game if we were connected on defense. And the second quarter specifically, I could give you the open threes that we gave away to the Brooklyn Nets and the players that we gave them away to. Obviously, we gave the James Harden a wide open 3. We gave Joe Harris a wide open 3. We gave multiple wide open 3s, by the way, for Joe Harris. We gave Patty Mills wide open 3s. We gave Kevin Durant a wide open 3 as well. You have to stay connected to these players. The second quarter defensively was very, very poor. But we did pick it up in other quarters, we did pick it up in other stretches, and the bench really helped with that as well. So you have to give credit to the defensive pressure in those quarters, but looking at every single quarter individually, the second quarter defensively was a big letdown for the Chicago Bulls. And our first quarter was actually great today. We had a great first quarter. We started off very well offensively. We weren't great defensively in the first quarter either, but offensively, we were phenomenal. We were moving the ball. We were creating open shots. Everybody was getting involved, and it was a beautiful sight to see that we were up by a fair bit in the first quarter, which was great. Obviously, we let them come back, but that's just how it is. Brooklyn is a great team. They will come back. It's just the way that it is. Kevin Durant, unbelievable player, and he showed his class yet again today with his offense and his defense as well. He is a sensational player. But we knew that coming in. We knew James Harden, and we knew Kevin Durant can hurt us big time. It's about the other players. As I keep saying, you can try your best to stop Kevin Durant. You can make life difficult for him, but in the end, he's going to get his numbers. It's about everybody else. Joe Harris made a few threes, but it was very, very quiet. Patty Mills made a couple shots. Very, very quiet. I actually don't know how many shots Patty Mills made. Fellow Australian, so I really do enjoy his game as well. Obviously, Blake Griffin, someone else that got some big game time today, wasn't as impactful as you'd like him to be. Again, Brown was another player, set good screens today, did his thing defensively, but offensively, not really an issue. So there were a few players on that Brooklyn Nets team that we did keep quiet. LaMarcus Aldridge is obviously the one that we can look at and say that he really hurt us as well. But we did keep a lot of the other players quiet, which was good to see as well. Let's look at the individual performances, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk about the positives and negatives over there as well, and we'll talk more about each and every single one of these players. Let's start off with DeMar DeRozan, that had 28 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal. Again, a pretty consistent performance from DeMar DeRozan, showing his class in the mid-range, and again, his isolation is working for himself, which again goes to show it's not bad to see isolation in small doses, and that's what I'm trying to say. DeMar DeRozan is an excellent isolation player. We shouldn't take that away from him, but it's just that we need to see it in the flow of the offense. We need to see it a little bit less and try to get other players involved. And looking at the stat sheet for most of these players today, I can't complain about the involvement of our players. So DeMar had a great game in my opinion, and is definitely someone that is becoming relatively consistent in the way that he's scoring, how he's getting his shots, and also just trying to do his thing and get us back into games sometimes when we are kind of falling away. Zach LaVine had 24 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 1 steal. Again, these two are my player of the game, so I'm going to give you that spoiler now, but even till this day, even till now, I can't decide who to give it to. Both of them shot over 50% from the field. Both of them played really good. Zach LaVine had a tremendous start to the game, and DeMar DeRozan had a pretty solid end to the game. So it is really hard to give that player of the game to one of those players, but they both played fantastic basketball, and throughout the course of this video, I'm going to have to decide in my mind what exactly I'm going to say, because yeah, that's a really tough one to give in my opinion. I think both of them played some pretty solid basketball. There are still a few instances where we see forced-up shots. Again, those are things over time that we're going to see a little bit less of. We're not going to... Zach LaVine is going to force up some shots. It's just the way that it is. That's always been the player that he is. It's just seeing it relatively less because we have a good team we can rely on. Nikola Vucevic, 11 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, and 3 blocks. This game from Nikola Vucevic, I think, is a step forward for him. In the first 3 quarters, I honestly started to feel bad for the guy because there was just some really easy shots there that he missed. I'm not even talking about the threes and the mid-ranges. This guy had 2 missed post layups. This guy had 2 open dunks that he didn't make, and he also had a couple layups around the ring that he just couldn't finish. These are shots that I think many players, even non-NBA players, will probably be talking about making those. And it's just the confidence issue. You saw his confidence on the floor in the first 3 quarters of the game. And you don't want to see that from anybody. And when Nikola Vucevic made that 3-pointer in the 4th quarter, to start off his fantastic 4th quarter, by the way, he had a fantastic 4th quarter. When he made that 3-point shot, I screamed. I was genuinely happy for Nikola Vucevic to make that shot, because at the end of the day, when you see the shots that he was missing, you get upset, you get a little bit deflated, and you feel sorry for him. Then he comes back and he takes a stand for himself in many ways, and he believes in himself again. And I don't think he missed another shot in the 4th quarter. which was great to see. And again, his fourth quarter performance, in my opinion, sparked a fantastic comeback and a fantastic win for the Chicago Bulls. Give credit where it's due. He may have not had a great game today, but his fourth quarter was absolutely amazing, and that is the potential we can see from this team when Vucevic makes his shots. Simple as that. He makes his shots, we are a dangerous team. And that's why I believe Billy Donovan keeps using him, even though some players, including myself, some people don't necessarily want to see him all the time. This is why we keep playing him. That's the game right there. That's the fourth quarter, and that's why he does finish games. So he proved me wrong today, and he did very, very well. Congratulations to Vucevic on that great fourth quarter, and hopefully we can continue to see that level of performance every game. Lonzo Ball, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. This is the first game, I believe, of the season where Lonzo Ball didn't have either a steal or a block in today's game. I might be wrong on that, but I don't believe I am. But Lonzo Ball, it was an up and down game. Like, again, I still see him at times as a passenger on the team in the second half. In the first half, I thought he was everywhere. I thought he was great defensively. He was making shots. He was able to make some plays. In the second half, he was still there. He made a big 3 in the fourth. He ended up getting a nice assist as well. It's just not enough. I think Lonzo Ball needs to be, especially when we need a play and we need to kind of, I guess, rely on Lonzo Ball if we're trying to play fast in the fourth quarter. That's what he's there to do. I don't think we see it enough. But again, we won this game. There's not too much to complain about today. We won a very important game against the Brooklyn Nets, and Lonzo Ball did play a pretty big factor in making his shots and getting some good assist plays as well. Again, the numbers might not show the amount of plays that he did make, but it is a decent game in my opinion from Lonzo Ball, but I think the same issues still apply to him in the second half. Javonte Green, 11 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals. This is the game you want to see from Javonte Green as your starting power forward. Again, he's not going to drop 20 points for us. He's not going to be a player that's going to get a bulk of the shots in the starting lineup. But when he's running the floor, you need to get him the ball. He is killing it in trying to get offensive rebounds. He got a nice steal today and a dunk on James Harden. He did a lot of great things today on the floor, and that's what you need from your power forward. He had to guard Kevin Durant today. Kevin Durant dropped 30 points today. Well, I think a little bit more than 30 points. So defensively, there's not a whole lot you could do on Kevin Durant. I'm going to be honest. There were a lot of shots that were just simply contested. But because of the size issues between the two, Kevin Durant is a 7-footer and Javonte Green is 6'4", 6'5". There's a big height issue, and obviously Kevin Durant is going to take advantage of that, hence why he had a great game. But with Javonte Green, you can do what only you can control, and he controlled his ability to crash the glass, he controlled his ability to get second chance opportunities, and he made a huge impact in running the floor today. Great game from Javonte Green. Alex Caruso, 5 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. This is not Alex Caruso's best game. You have to be honest. The stats for everybody might have gone up, but for Alex Caruso, this was definitely a worse game for him. The reason why, in my opinion, is that he's kind of forcing passes in many ways. There were at least 2 passes in this game that was extremely unnecessary to make, that he did make, which resulted in turnovers, and 2 dunks, wide open dunks for the Brooklyn Nets. And I would like to see him not force the issue. He's the point guard at the end of the day. There's no need to pass it up the floor from a half-court set. They made a shot, dribble it up, make a play. You don't always need to move the ball as quickly as possible. It's not always the way to go. And again, I think he just struggled in trying to make the right play today. It's as simple as that. I thought defensively he was as good as he could be. He had a really good steal on James Harden, which led to a lot of hustle plays, and that's what Chicago is known for. If anything to take away from this game, the Chicago Bulls are known for their hustle, are known for their diving onto the floor, saving the ball, getting deflections, getting steals, and running out. The defense is what we're known about. This is our culture. This is what we were grown up on. Many people from the 90s, the D-Rose era, we are grown up on hustle plays and great defense. And Alex Caruso and the bench as well played a really big factor in that. Ayo Dosunmu, ladies and gentlemen, 15 points and 7 rebounds. This man got a standing ovation tonight for his energy, for his ability to run, grabbing rebounds over centers, and just absolutely having a great night, getting his career high in points. He is fearless, ladies and gentlemen. And you're telling me this guy can't play with Kobe White? Everybody's worried about Kobe White returning and Ayo's not getting minutes. I honestly, 100% in my soul, believe these two can play together, and this is the reason why. Because Ayo brings the energy, the defense, and the ability to run. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Why can't it be both? That's the question that I have. But I can't keep comparing Ayo to Kobe White. What I have to say is that Ayo is deserving of his minutes, and he's consistently getting minutes. So he deserves a lot of credit for his game today, and this is his best game as a Bull, and he got that standing ovation. He was having fun, and the crowd was having fun, and he was a big responsibility as to why we came back. He deserves a lot of praise for his bench performance. Derrick Jones Jr., 7 points, 3 rebounds, another solid game from Derrick Jones Jr. We are starting to see this a little bit more now, consistency for Derrick Jones Jr. He's getting the minutes, and he's providing really good stats for those minutes. And again, he was also another player that had to guard Kevin Durant. I thought he did a slightly better job guarding Kevin Durant because of his length, but nevertheless, he did a great job in general today, and he did get a hard foul as well with contact to the face, and that's what being athletic and running the floor. Brooklyn was struggling to guard players like that, and in the end, they had to result in fouling, which is why we got the free throws that we got. And last but not least, Tony Bradley, 4 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block. Great night on the boards for Tony Bradley. Great night in terms of offensive rebounds and second chance opportunities. One thing I haven't said yet that I need to say, the paint was ours today. Brooklyn did not have a chance in scoring in the paint compared to the way that we scored in the paint. We dominated the paint battle, which led to that convincing victory in the end. Although it was close all game, the paint was ours and they could not get near it. And I think the fact that they're missing a center does help. Playing Blake Griffin as center probably didn't help them as much, and same with LaMarcus. They are very undersized compared to us. That was the biggest issue of us coming in, that we are undersized. Brooklyn are much more undersized than us in terms of their team, besides obviously Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant is just... He's just one of a kind, isn't he? But the rest of their team, I think they're very undersized. And I think we took advantage of that in second chance opportunities and crashing the boards. And Tony Bradley played a big part. Let's talk about the must improve now, ladies and gentlemen. You can give this to two people, Nikola Vucevic and Alex Caruso, but I'm gonna give a little bit of leeway to Nikola Vucevic today because he had a really great fourth quarter and he definitely helped us in this game. I'm gonna give it to Alex Caruso just basically for his unnecessary turnovers. That's the only really big thing I can think of. You could probably not give it to anybody today, but I don't want to keep, every time we win, I don't want to say no must improve. I think there are certain plays there that did have unnecessary impacts or had some negative times in this game, and Vucevic is definitely part of that as well. But with Alex Caruso, it was definitely a big part of his game today as well. I thought actually this was Alex Caruso's worst game of the season. And if that's his worst game of the season, we're going to be just fine. Let's be honest. He had 2 steals. It was great defensively. I think we're going to be just fine with him in the team. It was a not a bad game from him whatsoever. Just I think it was his worst game of the season, to be honest. And the player of the game, I'm going to give it to Zach LaVine. The reason why is basically Zach LaVine shot nearly 60% from the field, and DeMar DeRozan shot 50%. That's literally the only reason I'm going to give it to Zach LaVine, because he was absolutely sensational in his shooting today, and he didn't take as many shots, but his efficiency really carried into the game that he had today, and I just think he was my player of the game. Simple as that. I can't really go too much into it. I thought he was great today. The Bulls' record is 7-3, and that's why it's a very important victory to have under your belt when you verse the Brooklyn Nets. They're a fantastic team. They came into this game with a 7-3 record themselves, I believe. So at the end of the day, this was a really important win to have under your belt, especially when you're very close to going on that Western Conference trip. You want to take advantage of the remaining games you have at home before you go out in the West, because the West is going to be a tough time for us. So you got to take these games at home, and especially against a really high quality team like the Brooklyn Nets. I'm going to give them all the respect in the world because they deserve it. They're a great team, and it's a great win that we had against them now. Our next game is against the Dallas Mavericks at the United Center. This is the last home game before we see many away games out in the West. So we have to take advantage of this home game. This is the one home game you want to finish strong at home. You want to give your fans something to cheer about before you don't see them for a while. You're not going to see your hometown fans for a long time after this. A fair few away games before we have our next game at home, which will be against the New York Knicks. So you have to take advantage of a game like this. You have to take advantage of this game against the Dallas Mavericks, and you have to perform at home. Let's see how we do. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Have a wonderful and safe day, Bulls Nation. Be proud of your Chicago Bulls team today. It's a big victory, and although we did lose 2 in a row before that, many people were getting down on themselves. We are fine. We are a fine team. We want to see improvements, and that's all we want, but we are still very fine where we are. We still have great quality players, and we're still getting important wins, and this is just another example of that. Have a wonderful and safe day, Bulls Nation. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.